In this lecture, what we're going to talk about is active listening. And we're going to kind of dig down in deep because remember, previously we've done that 1,000-foot view of what communication is. When I say 1,000-foot view, I mean we're up in an airplane and we're looking down on what communication is. And now we're going to get closer. We're going to do the 10-foot view of what active listening is, and we're going to kind of keep getting into those bite-sized sections and really digging in as we go along. The reason we did active listening or listening first is because remember when we were talking about communication, I said communication is a two-way street. We need to make sure that we are talking or we are asking questions, and then the other person is coming back with more questions or questions, creating that circle where they're asking, we're going back and forth, okay? If it's just one directional, it's nowhere near as good, and it's not considered a good form of communication. Remember when we talked about rich and lean medians? We were talking about the rich ones are easier to ask questions, while the lean ones are harder. It's still possible, they're just harder, and we're not getting all of that information back, okay? So, like I said, we're going to talk about active listening. There is a such thing as passive listening. Now, passive listening is probably what you're doing right now. If I had to guess, you've probably already checked your cell phone 3 times just in the minute and a half that I've been talking. So not paying attention is pretty much passive listening. If you're sitting in class and you're drawing pictures and you're not really taking notes and you only get about half of what that person says, that's passive listening. And that's really what you want to stay away from for multiple reasons. Mainly because people know when you're passively listening versus actively listening. I read a book, it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and he says, his name is Dale Carnegie, who wrote the book, and he said, if you listen to somebody, it's going to totally change the perspective that person has on you. So what I'm saying is, I listen to you, suddenly you think that I care, and that I want to know more about you, and I want stuff from you. All of a sudden, they're going to open up and they're going to talk more, they're going to explain more, they're going to help you more because they think you care, okay? I'm hopefully you do care, but that's one thing, and you're going to see that just active listening can totally change your career. It can change the way people treat you. It can change how much money you're making. This is a great, I would call it like a micro skill. I mean, communication is the actual soft skill, but active listening is part of that communication skills that we really want to master. So what we're going to do is we're just going to break that down into the components of active listening. So if you look below, you're going to see that I have the actual definition of active listening. So I'm going to go ahead and put it up right here. This is based off of the active listening definition off the Indeed website. It is a great website. Indeed does some really awesome stuff. So if you're looking for information, I would highly recommend you actually read the page that this is on that will be linked below in the notes. So what it says is active listening is the ability to focus completely on a speaker, understand their message, comprehend the information, and respond thoughtfully. Now, it goes on and it talks a little bit about passive listening and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to just talk about really focusing and how we're going to do that and why it's so important. What I've done is I've just went ahead and I listed the components of active listening. If you look below, I've got linked a little picture that I found that just has these components kind of spread out. There's no 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all components that you need to be working on at all times. There's some of them that help me a little bit better, and I will kind of hit on those as I go through it, such as like visualize what somebody is saying. This is a big help, and I'm gonna go through why that one really helps me and why you should maybe think about using it. But there's no this one's better than this one or anything like that, or you can not do this one without this one. These are all components of active listening. So the first one is paying attention. Now, this might seem pretty simple and stupid. Yeah, you pay attention to be actively listening. But I want to go through some of the things that you need to be doing. Do not play on your cell phone. Do not be drawing pictures. Do not be talking to the person maybe next to you. Do not be looking past them, maybe looking at something totally different. Don't be walking away. Don't have your music on in your ears or something like that. These are components of paying attention. Another thing to do is not worrying about how to react to what they are saying. Many times, especially maybe if you were talking to your boss might be talking to you and you're not really listening to what they're saying. You're wondering how you're going to rebuttal what they're saying or how you're going to argue or have a counter argument to that. What if they're giving you the best idea in the world, but you are so focused on doing your own thing that you're not even going to listen to that idea. You're just going to immediately go, well, this is better. And I've seen that quite a bit. So take in what they're saying. Kind of take it in before you come up with a reason why it's not going to work, or why it's stupid, or why it's a waste of your time to even be listening. Take it in. Think about it and then react, okay? Don't be coming up with ways to react before they are done talking. So that's paying attention, okay? Look at the person. We're going to be talking a lot about body language. Looking at somebody is a big part of this. Eye contact is huge. The eye contact is huge even if you're talking to somebody on a date, if you're walking by somebody in the hallway, making eye contact is huge for so many things. They're going to think you're focused on them, so they're going to want to talk to you more. They're going to be more likely to answer your questions. They're going to be more likely to even come up and talk to you maybe after a presentation, or they're going to be more likely to go more in depth on something and explain all those micro details instead of giving you a broad overview just because you're giving them eye contact, okay? Again, you can also be doing things, and we're going to go over this more in our body language section, but you could be, have your arms crossed. You could have your eyes closed. You could be not even facing them, which is a dead giveaway. You don't care. Or you could be like trying to walk away. So maybe, let's say you're having a conversation with somebody that you do not want to have a conversation with. If you start walking away before the conversation's done, that is body language telling him that you don't care. So you don't want that person to feel like that. You want them to give you their knowledge, their information. So you're going to maintain eye contact with them, okay? This is going to change a lot for you. Do not talk, okay? More than likely, this is a two-way communication, so that you're talking to somebody, but while they are talking, do not talk. Do not cut them off. Do not do that kind of stuff, because this is something that I'm actually horrible about. A student will walk up to me, and he'll be asking me a question that I've heard 100 times, and I will finish asking his question for him, and then immediately answer it for him. It's good that maybe I know I've gotten those kind of questions a lot, but it's bad that I don't let him get it all out, okay? It shows him that it might make him feel like I'm talking down to him. It makes him feel like maybe he can't open up to me. He can't talk to me because I'm just going to cut him off and interrupt him. It's just rude, okay? So do not talk. You are going to ask questions, which kind of leads us into number 4. Ask questions. Ask follow-up questions. Ask questions that show that you know what they're talking about, but also, or can help you figure out what they're talking about, okay? One of the common things is I get a lot of students that'll come ask me questions, and they don't give the background on the question. They'll come up to me and they'll say, I don't know how to make this timer work. Well, if you come up to me and just say that, well, I don't know if you're working in a PLC class. I don't know if you're working in motor controls. I don't know if you're working with sequencers too. There's a lot of other stuff that they could come in and say. So maybe they could start by saying in the PLC section or in this or that. So I have some background to what they've just asked me. That's just smart question asking. Now, if somebody was talking to me and they're telling me on how to build a house, and I'm like, well, I'm going to repeat something they've said as part of my question. Be like, so when you talked about putting in the roof trusses, is this what you meant? So it shows that I was listening to them, but I need a little bit more information, okay? It's gonna kind of give in that validation to what they've said, and then helps them go a little bit deeper into it. Because again, you don't want them to be like, was this guy listening at all? Because you want them to give you more information, like I said, okay? And don't ask stupid questions. Don't ask questions to catch them off guard. Don't ask questions to make him look stupid or make the other person look stupid, because it doesn't do any good, okay? Try to maintain a positive atmosphere. Be positive with that person, and it's going to pay off in the long run, okay? Follow directions. So this one you see a lot. I see it a lot here because I'm a teacher, is I will explain how to do something, and they will immediately go out and do it an opposite way. So the problem with this is not that I don't believe that there are better ways to do stuff, and that people are smart and they can figure out different ways of doing things, and maybe there are better ways. It makes me feel like I've just wasted my time. Okay, luckily for you guys, I'm here, and I will keep talking to you as much as possible. But by doing it somebody else's way, that shows them that you were listening. It shows them that you cared about what they were saying, about what they were trying to tell you to do, okay? You're going to see this a lot, especially when you're working with older mechanics or older people in your career field. they're going to tell you how to do something. If you don't at least try to do it that way, it's just you're going to burn a bridge there and you're never going to get it back. Okay, so listen to what they say and then do it, and then go back to them with why it didn't work, and maybe then at that point they'll come out and actually show you or something else. Kind of keep working that problem together instead of disregarding what they've said and going in your own direction. So now, last one is going to be visualize what is being said. Now, if you're gonna, there's going to be a clip, I think, at the bottom of this in Canvas that talks about the different types of learning. They talk about visual learners, they talk about auditory learners, and then some other stuff. Okay, I am definitely a visual learner. I want to see that pump get pulled apart, put back together. I want to see things. So when somebody's talking to me, they're going to say something, I want to visualize it because that's the way I'm going to learn. It also helps, like say you're getting directions from your boss, and your boss says, you're going to go and I need you to replace pump number 7. I'm going to visualize pump number 7. One, if I can't visualize it, I probably don't know where it is. So a follow-up question might be, where's pump number 7? So again, I've listened to what he said and I'm going back with another question, okay? I don't have to walk away and spend 10 minutes looking for it, then to finally come and be like, hey, where's pump number 7? It's just a waste of time and it's gonna make you look bad, okay? So visualizing it and going, well, hey, where is this? Or maybe you visualize it and you go, oh man, we're gonna need some lifting equipment. So at that point, I can turn around and ask about lifting equipment. It just shows that you're trying to be with that person. You're not trying to be, let's say, a step ahead, or maybe you are trying to be a step ahead, but you don't want the other person to feel left behind, okay? So you want to have that conversation where you're going back and forth, back and forth. So those are our components. I want you to think about these as you're talking to people, you're in presentations, you're about to ask questions, some of your body language stuff, and we're going to keep on digging into this stuff. And there's going to be some test questions, we're going to do some discussions and things like that, but kind of keep these in mind. Again, if you use active listening, it can change your career. I'm going to say that so many times in this whole class about these soft skills, but honestly, communication, active listening, just keep your mouth shut and let somebody talk to you, and then, focus on them and then reply, okay? I used to know a guy that I worked with, and one of the best qualities he had was he would let you talk. You would talk to him, and then he would stop. He would think about it, and then he would reply. Everybody is so worried about proving themselves and proving how smart they are. They just want to have these snappy comebacks, and they don't do any good. So he would take the information, think about it, formulate a thought, and then reply. That's all he did. This is all he did. And it not only let him control the conversations, it let him, always have the upper hand, because he always was in control and he didn't let people rush him, things like that. And those are some stuff you're going to have to learn, and you're going to have to, gain over time. Those got confidence, but they start with active listening. So go ahead and move on, and let's continue working on communication.